Hello everyone, this is Antonio, and today we're going to learn how to deploy a React app using Azure Web Services. What specifically? We are going to create an static web app and then create a repo on GitHub. I'll show you how to create the repo, upload the repo from your local machine, and then create the resource on Azure to deploy your app. So let's get started. So as you might know, React or React.js, whatever you can call it, it's just a library for building user interfaces. Actually, it's really important to know the use cases for React. This is not a front end or back end lesson. In fact, what we are trying to achieve is just to know how to use Azure to deploy your your app. I will assume that you know how to use React. If not, you can find any courses or documentation or tutorials on YouTube or any other websites. So, without future details, let's get started. I just have created an empty folder right here on my desktop. You can create the empty folder, and we are going to use PowerShell to create the React app. In fact, the first step is that you have to install Node.js and then select the appropriate tools. So in order for us to create the React app, we have to do an npx create React app and the name of your app. This is going to be a hello world. This is just going to be a pretty straightforward application, simple application, just the one that we receive on the tutorials. Then let's press enter. Let's proceed with yes. It might take just a couple of seconds till it's completed. Let's wait. Meanwhile, I will recommend you to open your Azure account. If you haven't created the Azure account, I will suggest you to create a new one or try the Azure account for student. I'm just going to use my student account, not the one that I use for production. This is the one that I have received when was a student. So once you have created the account, then we'll move forward. Let's verify if the React app is already in place. Not yet. So let's pause the video and let's go back once it's ready. Let's do something. Open Visual Studio right here using the code that command, and it will open the Visual Studio. Now the Visual Studio is open. We can just close the PowerShell CLI. Now, here's the whole project. I won't give details about this. Just this is the entry point for your app. And what are we going to do? The next, let's open a new terminal. Let's do a cd hello world, and then let's run the app. For that, we are going to use the npm start command. Okay, once we have run the app, you're going to see this um, app right here, or the application running on localhost. You can actually edit this configuration right here. Let's do something. Let's do demo for Azure demo. Let's remove all of this. Demo for Azure website. Okay, let's save it. Let's verify. Okay, perfect. This is something really straightforward. There's not much to say about this. Now that we have created the app and is uh, running on your local host, let's create your repo, your repository on GitHub. For that, there are two ways. I would prefer to, first of all, create the local repo and then create the repo on GitHub. So first, let's create the local repo. Okay, to create the repo, we can actually do it from our Visual Studio. We have to go to New Terminal, cd to our current project, and then do a git init. Let's verify, let's do a git status on all the files are already here. So let's do a git add dot, and then let's do a git status on all of them are green, are ready to be staged. The next step will be to create a new repository right here on GitHub. Let's create that one. Let's call it Azure Demo React, and let's create a repo right here. It will give you some commands. The ones that actually we are going to use are git commit to add the message. Let's paste it. Let's do a git branch to add the new branch on a repo. Then remote add. Let's add the remote repository and let's push the changes right here. Let's put this online. Let's push the changes. Okay, perfect. Let's see the repository in GitHub. Okay, the files are right here. This is the demo. And now the next step is to create the application on Azure. Okay, so far so good. We have uh, created the local project for our React application. We have commit changes to the remote repository, and now we need to create the resource on Azure. So for that, we have to come here to the portal, select create a resource, select web, and now let's select the static web application, or static web app. Let's select create. Let's enter our details. Actually, let's select Azure Demo Apps. I will create a new resource group, call it website demo. Let's add a new name for it. Let's call it demo Azure app. Here, this is something to make sure we consider as part of the deployment. We have several options to deploy our app. We have GitHub, Azure DevOps, and other. Here, I'm just going to use the repo that I already created on GitHub. You can select your account, and then once you have signed in into Azure, let's select the organization. That's my organization, the repository, Azure Demo React, and the branch, the main branch. Here, this is the core of our heart of our actually tutorial. We have to select the build presets. We have several options. We have Angular, Blazor, Next, Nux, React, Svelte, a ton of options. We are going to select React, the application. We can just select or leave the project as it is. Or if you have, for example, any application, you can select the application or any other configuration right here. But just here, we're going to make this tutorial straightforward, not too much to speak about it. So let's do a review and create. It might take a couple of minutes or it will depend upon your configuration of internet connections. And then let's do create. Here, the deployment is in progress. As you know, usually Azure resources take just a couple of minutes to be deployed. So now let's move forward. Let's go to the resource. Let's close all of this and let's try to browse it. Here, there's something to take into consideration. The first time that you open the application, it won't show you your current application because it might take from 3 to 5 minutes to be deployed. So don't worry if you don't see the application in the first start of your journey. So let's wait, but you already see that actually it's giving you something. It means it's working. As you can see, it shares with you one specific URL that is provided by Azure. So this is the overall configuration. You can see the resource group, the subscription ID, the location, the SKU, the URL, your source, and the deployment history. You can select that one, and it might show you the status of the deployment that is actually doing the build and deploy. It might take till 5 minutes to complete. And you can also edit the workflow. This is for CI, CD configurations. So we have to wait. Let's wait a couple of minutes till it's completed right here. Once it's completed, it will give you here any green, or I don't remember to be honest, the successful message. But once it's ready, it will change the main page. So let's wait and came back once it's ready. Okay, let's see if the resource has been deployed successfully. Okay, perfect. Looks okay. Let's see the logs. Okay, complete. And now let's try it out from our application. Okay, awesome. Okay, guys, we have already added the application to our repository. We can browse the repository or the application itself. We have the same resource that we have locally. So what will be the next step here? When you have a custom site, what you actually do? If this is a personal project, you can just keep the URL as it is. But if you're going to use this um, for any production site, uh, I would suggest you to add the custom domain. What the custom domain is for? The custom domain will enable the users to access your website easily. It's really hard to look for this instead of using, for example, mydomain.com. So that's why we have to select the custom domain for our users to access the website easily. So what will be the next step to add the domain? I do own a domain here on this domain provider. They are not paying me any penny for this tutorial, so it's not related with them. I'm not doing any marketing campaign here, but if they want to pay me, I'll be great to do so. But now, this is not marketing. So what we're going to do, I do have this domain, infraredcolombia.com. the one that we use to access the website from outside the internet. If you let me see, if you try to access right away, it won't let you access the domain. So the next task will be to make sure we can access the website. So to add the custom domain, we have to come here to custom domain, select add custom domain on our DNS. We have to provide the domain with three with www.thedomainname.com. That will be my domain. Select next, select CNAME, and we have to add this. Before you do any changes here in Azure, I will recommend you to add this and wait a couple of minutes. So let's copy this value. Will be type CNAME. Let's come here to advanced DNS. Let me see advanced DNS. Yep, here we go. Advanced DNS. Let's add a new record CNAME record the host www and the value. For the TTL, we're going to select 60 minutes. Let's save the changes. Let's wait a couple of minutes. Let's do something. Okay, let's try to add the domain right now. Here, it will fail because, as I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, before adding the domain, we have to create this value. So I will cancel this operation. Let's try to refresh the portal. And now let's try it out again. Custom domain. Let's paste the domain. Let me copy it from here. Okay, let me copy the value. .com. Let's do next. CNAME. Let's add the value. And now it's working. It's adding the value. It might take between 5 and 10 minutes to complete this operation. So once it's completed, you can just close it. It will show you here the close button. And then uh, we are going to refresh the console or the portal just to make sure we have added the value properly. So let me pause the video. I'll take a coffee and I'll be back. So actually, it's taken a couple of minutes, so no worries if it's take longer than expected. But you can see the domain name, the domain mention, the hostname or record type, and here are the details, the same details that we have provided to our domain, to our advanced DNS configuration. So if we try to navigate this site, let me see, let me copy and let me open. I don't have any incognito. Let's try it and let's paste it. So here we go. Oh, pretty cool, right? Isn't it? Let's try to refresh the value. Let's try to refresh the portal. Yeah, it might show here that it's adding because it will be replicating across the world the records. So no worries. But actually you can see that we can access our React application. And in fact, if we verify the details, you can see that Azure provided um, uh, is a certificate, an SSL certificate. So, if you have reached this point, let me tell you something. Congratulations. It's not an easy task to learn any new tech, but it's worth it. So, let's do a quick uh, verification. So, what we did, we create a React application. If you already have any React application, you can do it with your own application. So, we create the React application. We create a new resource right here. We create a repo. Then we create the static web app on Azure. We configured a new custom domain, and we were able to access our application. As you can see, if you update this configuration, you can see the new URL or the new name for your application. So this is everything for today. See you on the next time. Thank you, and if you like the video, please subscribe and share and like. Bye for now.
Why are you running?
Are you doing this for world peace?
Are you doing this for the homeless?
Are you running for women's rights?
Or for the environment? Or for animals?
They just couldn't believe that somebody would do all that running for no particular reason.
Why are you doing this?
I just felt like running.